hunting and trading of chimpanzees and other primates has reached extreme proportions, so much so that the number of endangered primates continues to grow. Someone who is trying to put a stop to this is rescuer Eugene Cusins, the host of a TV show called Escape to Chimp Eden, which premieres on South African TV tonight. We caught up with Cusins to find out more about this show.
The first show was very much a roller coaster ride, and I do think in a certain way it's an eye-opener. Usually we're used to television that shows you what you want to see, that things always got a happy ending, and that everything is sugar-coated, so to speak. And with Monday Night Show, it really shows you how things can go wrong, how unpredictable things can be, and how we have to, as the Jane Goodall Institute, come up with solutions to save lives. In this case, we're saving chimpanzee lives, primate lives. Not everything that I do is absolutely perfect, and that's the shocker. You watch the show and you don't know what's going to happen next. Sometimes you think, well, he's going to get the chimps out of the cage and he's going to go back home and it's a happy ending. It doesn't work that way. I'm not going to go into details of what exactly happens in the show. I think just keep in mind that it's unpredictable and it can be a bit of a shocker.
Cusins enjoyed much success in the corporate world, but something didn't quite fit the mold. He wanted more. He wanted to play an instrumental role in something with a cause, and it was from this that the idea for a TV show came about.
You know what, I wasn't very much in love with the direction that I chose for my career. I decided that I wanted to go back home, back to my roots, and open a lodge with my father. And so when I started doing that, I bumped into someone that works for the Jane Goodall Institute, heard about the problems and the challenges that they were facing, and I was really interested. I had all the land, I was looking for a viable conservation project that had meaning, and I decided to get involved with the Jane Goodall Institute. Initially just to build them a facility, and then as time went by, I got more and more sucked into this cause, which is a really dramatic cause. I don't think people realize the extent of the problem in Africa and how the great apes are being decimated. Very much the same as what I was like when I first heard about it. I was not aware that the great apes were being decimated and what the extent of the problem was until I saw it for myself. And that was also the point of why I took on the challenge of incorporating a television show into this, because I do think that people will now see the truth. They will see the full extent of the problem, and they will realize that we do not have much time and we have to act no matter how difficult things can be.
Cusins is the managing director of Chimp Eden, a rehabilitation center in Nelspruit that effectively has saved many of the chimpanzees viewers will get to see in the show.
Yeah, we've had some really big successes in the past 2 years. Take Cozy, for example, a chimp that spent 9.5 years inside a trailer home, not even seeing any sunlight, had no contact with any other animals. And he has been rehabilitated to be part of a family group, and I had to teach him things. I had to teach him tool use, I had to teach him tree climbing, I had to just give him the self-confidence that it's okay to be a chimp. And today he's climbing almost 90% of the trees in the enclosure. He's got a vital part in the family that he's in, and I take real big privilege in that, of being part of that process. And so, I consider Cozy to be pretty much my brother. That's how I see him. What I'd like people to realize is that to take away from the show, that we have a responsibility as Africans to help our fellow neighboring countries in solving their problems. We can't just turn a blind eye to this whole problem of the apes being endangered, saying that we have nothing to do with it, we have our own conservation problems, we've got our own problems, we're going to focus on the southern tip of Africa. We should rightfully help our neighboring countries more than Europe and America should be. And up until this point, we haven't seen that commitment coming from South Africa. And I hope that if they see the reality of how difficult things are going in Africa and what the extent of the problem is, that they'll be more committed and they'll support organizations like the Jane Goodall Institute to save the great ape species and other species that are endangered.